Hi there, welcome to a video that I thought I'd never make. I'm going to compare, well, basically the string libraries that I've got. So I've got Spitfire Studio strings, CSS Cinematic Studio strings, and weirdly enough Albion One with the fairly new now, because I'm months behind, it came out in April, but Hollywood Strings 2 by East West. So basically, I've downloaded Hollywood Strings 2 because I just fancy trying a new string library. Really, I'm a Composer Cloud X Composer Cloud X member, and have been for many years. And that's a different subject, I think, probably. And I thought, well, I'll download Hollywood Strings. It's the sort of string library I'm likely to use, and compare it with what I would normally do in a similar sort of context to see if it's actually really worth it. Now, there's a lot of hype about East West and Hollywood Strings too. I think there's a lot of negative comments about East West selling out and the subscription model and things, and a lot of their sounds being dated and this sort of thing, which I think is perfectly true. I think that some of the East West stuff, because I still use it a lot, some of the East West stuff sounds terribly dated. Some of it's excellent. The pop brass thing that they just did relatively recently is amazing. The fantasy orchestra is supposed to be amazing. And then you've got the whole Opus or play engine thing to deal with. So let's have a look at that maybe for a start. So, the other thing to say is that this thing is 175 gigabytes to download. 175 gigabytes. It's a huge library. Why have they done it as well as the other thing? I mean, the old Hollywood Strings is it must be 10 to 15 years old. It's amazing. It's huge. It was one of the original really amazing string libraries, and in its day, 15 years ago, I think, was, in terms of its depth of sampling and the scripting behind it, was absolutely the pinnacle. It was the thing that sort of started off everybody. This is pre-Spitfire, pre-everybody. And they have updated it in the recent years, though I haven't tried that. But it has a big Hollywood sound. It's big orchestral. A lot of the sort of stuff you hear today on TV, you don't hear quite as much as that. This close microphone string sound, a smaller band, is much more popular. It's much more sort of the sound. It's much more modern sort of sound, which is what Hollywood Strings is going for. So it's a chamber ensemble, basically. I think there's 2 or 3 players on each part, something like that, maybe a little bit more, rather than having 16 first violins and 25 cellos and a huge orchestra, a 40-piece orchestra. This is very small. I think there's maybe, you can check, but there's probably only 16 or 20. It calls it a string chamber ensemble. So it has a very close mic'd, dry sound. As I say, really, really popular, but it's a sound, I think, that some composers I think we're a bit unfamiliar with it to a certain extent. If you think what a little Baroque ensemble sounds like, it's that sort of sound. It's not a big string orchestra. It's not a big sort of Hollywood film scorey sort of sound. And I think that closeness and that sort of real, like, rosin on the bow sort of sound is something it's quite current, and something that sometimes we're not quite used to listening to. So, I haven't played this at all, other than to check that it works. So what have we got? You've got the play thing. I have to say, I don't like it. It's not play. This is Opus, isn't it? This is the new version of play. If you compare it with how it works, but if you compare it with how it looks, even with the CSS thing, which is in Contact, this is so much nicer. It's just a lot more pretty and easy to find your way around, and Contact, I think, is sort of a little bit more familiar ground. Having said that, Opus and the old play, you can find your way around it easily. It's pretty easy to mix and to route different things in play, and much easier than in Contacts, I think, if you want to take that particular route. Personally, I've always found it anyway, but it does always look a bit clunky. It looks a bit 2012 to me, but I might be just sort of making it up. Okay, so hello, what have we got? We've got full strings here. Let's not listen to full. Should we listen to full strings? No. Let's listen to violas. There's somebody, isn't there, that always says you should check out a string library by checking out the violas. It's Guy Mitchellmore, I think. So I'm going to go with Guy, and we're going to look at the violas. So we've got violas here. Let's try the shorts for a start. Shorts and mod. Mod, wow, it's loud. It's a spiccato. Not working. You probably need to double click to load it. So my first thought is that's very bowy. It's very... very bowy, but it's got a lot of reverb on it. Lot of reverb on it. Can you do anything about that? That's volume. Now I'm not massively... see, I'd like to be able to work this out straight away, but I can't. Perform, mix. I want to take the... it's got a reverb. Okay, these are the mics, are they? Let's take the surrounds off. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is, woo, this is nice. There's nice mic positions here. Get rid of that surround, I think. Or is it? Oh, I'm not sure I have all of the mic positions. But what we can do actually is cut down the amount of reverb on it. Can you change the reverb? Oh, look, you can. Okay, oh, this is cool. Okay, so we can change the reverb. I didn't realise that. It's not baked in. So if we take the reverb off, you can, oh my goodness, that's so bowy. Okay. Let's just try, well that's, I think that's as it comes out of the box. How does that compare with, say, for example, CSS? Now, CSS would be my go-to, I have to say, for this sort of thing, if I didn't have Hollywood strings. The normal CSS is going to sound quite reverby, it's quite big. Do you know, doesn't sound much smaller, even though it's a bigger band. It's clearly mics further away. That's got a lovely sound. I do like CSS on its close mics though. Maybe with a little bit of room in there, or a little bit of the main in there. I was hoping to go back to Spitfire, but so no, to Hollywood rather. There's a brightness to it, isn't there? It's really bright and loud, Hollywood strings. Let's turn this up so we've got the same sort of volume. Come on, CSS, where are you? Let's just turn this up. See, that's, to me, that's a really, really nice viola sound. I'm liking that. Hollywood string. Ooh. It's closer and brighter. It's got a lot more bite to it. It's rather nice. Let's try something with the cellos. Well, let's have a listen to some longs. It's probably a good idea. Oh, tell you what, I will compare that with, Dave, for a minute, to CSS. Yeah, the Spitfire Studio Spitfire Studio strings, highly regarded. This is viola spiccato. Oh god. really want to like this library. It's quite cheap. It's 150 quid or something. I only got the basic mic positions, but it always sounds really just a bit lame and a bit... It's very soft. You can do things with the mic positions of this, the file mics. When you compare that with this, so much more bite, and with CSS. CSS is a bit plighter, isn't it? Okay, let's just compare it with Albion One. Why Albion One? This is an ancient library. It's one of the first libraries I got, what, 6 years ago? A little bit more now. So, yeah, 6 years ago, I suppose, when I started. In fact, I got the whole East-West Hollywood thingy, Composer Cloud plus Albion One was the first thing I bought. I still use Albion One strings, which seems really, really backward, but I do quite like them. It's really a sort of quick and dirty way of writing, because obviously this is an ensemble patch rather than having the individual things here. However, what I tend not to do is use it as it comes out of the box. See that massive reverb? It sounds like it's in a bathtub. It's actually Lyndhurst Hall, which is far from being a bathtub. It's nice, it's a very polite sound, but it's a totally different idea. However, by putting the close mics on, turning that down a little bit and tightening it all up a little bit here, let's get a bit more volume going. To me, that's a lovely sound. I've got, probably hundreds of TV placements using Albion One in this position, with the close mics turned right up and just these tree mics down a little bit and the tightness done. It's quick and easy. It hasn't got hasn't quite got the brightness and the bite of Hollywood strings. CSS just sounds bleh in comparison, for me anyway. Sorry, SSS, that's Spitfire Studio Strings, going to Cinematic Studio Strings. Albion One's a bit warmer, isn't it? It's a little bit warmer. CSS is just a bit further away. It's got a bit more bite to it though. Am I liking that sound? It's bright, isn't it? Bright and rattly. Not sure I do like it actually. That's just got a neatness to it, which is just nice. It's appealing. It's CSS again. You can hear the bow there. It's really nice. I'm not going to hardly bother with this one. Sounds very synthy, Spitfire Studio Strings in comparison. Okay, let's try something else. Let's have a look at cello legato we were going to look at, weren't we? So cello legato, my goodness. So lots of, I mean, this is the thing about Hollywood strings, isn't it? There's so many different versions of things going on here. So what have we got? Slur espressivo. Okay. The other thing to note is that the mod wheel does vibrato, I think, in this, and yeah, CC1 is expressional volume, so oh, I need to load it. That's confusing. So it plays. Ooh. No, maybe CC1 11 doesn't work. Not sure about that. Slur espressivo. Nice. I'm not getting any volume change with CC1, CC11, which I would need to sort out. But I do, actually, the three dynamics of sustain, there's a nice vibrato though. If you compare that with, well again, I would go to CSS would be my go-to. The cellos on this are really nice. I'd go close mic, a little bit of main possibly. Just get the volume going a little bit more. Okay, it does sound bigger. It's less bright. Yeah, back to Hollywood. It's, the Hollywood one is a little thinner, it's a little bit brighter. CSS is so easy to play though. I don't have to faff around working out how to do the dynamics. It has got a closeness and immediacy to it. I wouldn't use Albion One. The legatos aren't great for that. I'd use it for shorts. CSS and Spitfire studio strings. Let's try the legato cellos there. Don't think we're going to really get much of a comparison, to be honest. Let's try. I have no volume for some reason. Oh, that's because I've moved. Here, let's just go up. That's not too bad, actually. That doesn't sound dissimilar to Hollywood. So I think the Hollywood cello sounds a little thinner, it sounds closer to... One thing I have really noticed is because I've got headphones on, I think. But there's quite a noise floor to the... I can hear a rumble on this. Which isn't necessarily a problem. You can take the bottom end out, but it is quite bottom endy. It's like a background noise. Okay. Let's have a listen to some pizzicatos. So many different things in here. Playable run trill. What's this do? Portamento. Quite nice. It's really bright. Short. Pizzicatos. What have we got? Spiccatos. Bartok pits. Just straight pizzicato. Ooh. That's nice. Cello pizzicato. Oh, you can really, 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 really hear the fingers on the strings. It's got a lovely length to it as well. Compare that with CSS. It's not going to be as nice. So easy to change things on CSS there. There we go. No bit. It's okay, isn't it? This is just a bit more. Closer sounding. You can really hear the fingernails almost. There's still a lot of noise in that. You can hear a lot of... Maybe it's the reverb I don't like. The sound is lovely. There's just a lot of bass noise in it. CSS is nice. Albion One pitch is nice as well, actually. Let me do the same to that. I would use this again. I use this a lot. I would do the same thing here though, same movement. We take close mics, take the tree mic down, make it nice and tight. Go, off you go, there we go. Sounds very distant in comparison. It sounds like you're actually sitting in the section here, which is really lovely. I really like that. That is really cool. Okay, so what else do we look at strings wise on Hollywood strings? Let's try violins. Effects, harmonics, tremolos. There's so much stuff here. Key switches, shorts, shorts with mod wheel. That's often So I've done that a couple of times now. It's just sort of glitched, right, because I'm recording at the same time. That's really nice. I like the mod. Using the mod wheel to change the sound. That's a great sound. So in your face. If we compare that with, well, is it worth comparing it with Spitfire Studio strings? Violins One. Sounds more distant, it's weaker, softer. Not so keen on it. CSS Violins One. Dog barking at the refuse lorry just come outside. Let's put this on close again. A little bit of main. Volume going. It's shorter, but you do have different lengths. Hollywood. It's really like you're sitting in the strings, sitting in the string section with the Hollywood. Which I really like, actually, I have to say. I like it for certain things. CSS is a little bit more, it's plighter. I don't think Hollywood isn't particularly plight, it's raw. Difficult to play quietly. Okay, so shorts are good, violins are good. What do we have long wise with violins? Again, we're not going to, I don't think I'm going to get the volume control here, but let's try sustained expression. I think that's a lovely sound. I really like that. I can't control the volume. For some reason CC11 isn't responding. I need to sort that out. But being able to control the vibrato. That's good. Compare it with CSS. Oh, let's go back to the legato on CSS. CSS has a lovely legato. Sounds bigger. That sounds bigger. I can control the volume better with Cinematic Studio. The vibrato is a bit weird on cinematic studio strings though. It tends to be either on or off. You can control it, but I think there's only an on or off layer. I'm not entirely sure. This seems better, I would say. Yeah, that's lovely. Really liking that. I think the immediacy of that is really lovely. There is a full string section as well. Live 21 piece ensemble. What does that do? What's the shorts? Let's have a look. Shorts mod. Albion One sounds more distant. Hollywood Strings is really... Okay, so is Hollywood Strings 2 a good library? Would I use it? Yeah. I really like the closeness. I think it has a real sense of sort of sitting in the... You feel like you're sitting there in the... actually in the string band, which is really nice. You can literally hear the fingernails of the pizzicatos. You can hear the rosin on the bow. I need to sort out the legatos with CC11, which I think actually, once that's done, would be great, because I can then control vibrato and dynamic separately, which gives me a lot more control. There's a huge amount of articulations in there, more than in cinematic studio strings, which would be my sort of closest alternative, although I think it's more accessible in cinematic studio strings. It's not, I don't think it's a particularly versatile library, maybe. I mean, the interesting thing about cinematic studio strings is that I've used it for with a different mic setup. I've used it for big orchestral stuff, sometimes doubling it with other things. And actually, if you sort the reverb out a little bit, because I don't massively like the whole reverb on cinematic studio strings, if you do a little bit of work and use another reverb on it, it can sound really big, very quickly and easily. Also, as you can hear here, I can make it sound quite small and intimate. Similarly with Albion One, the shorts, it's quite polite, Albion One. Neither of those, though, have that bite, have that sort of intensity and closeness that Hollywood Strings 2 has and does really, really well. But I don't think you're not going to be able to make Hollywood Strings 2 sound big and majestic and romantic and warm, which is what you can do with cinematic studio strings, I think. Spitfire Studio Strings, I would love to like that library. It's got, you know, it's really nice. It's got, let me just have a look here. If I go down to it, it's got so many different, oh, where is it? There we go. So many different, here we go, individual articulations and things. It's a really deep library, but it just, all of it just sounds, all sounds really weak to me. It just has no bite or no to it, which is a shame. I have tried using it, and I have used it, but compared with Hollywood, Hollywood's really loud and bitey and in your face. Spitfire Studio Strings, I think it's just doesn't sound like it has the same sort of intensity and energy to it. So there you go. Is it worth downloading 175 gigabytes or whatever it is? Yes, I think I'll use it actually. It's a lot of information. Would I buy it for 300 quid? No, I don't think I would, unfortunately. I don't think so. I have other things, so I can see myself using it for sort of trailers, that bitey sort of neoclassical sound. However, I do have, where are we? Restrung. This one here, Restrung Volume 1, which is relatively inexpensive and does that really close bitey solo string thing really, really well. I've also got the Chris Hine set here of solo instruments that I can use to just sort of get that biting sound in combination with CSS, possibly, just to give it a bit of depth and body. do I need to have Hollywood Strings 2? No, I don't think I do. And that's the whole thing with the East-West, the whole East-West subscription model. You need to decide, you know, for 10 quid or whatever it is a month, it's worth it just to have that at your disposal. I mean, it's fantastically recorded. It's really, really deep. It has a niche that you might use quite a lot. But therein lies the downfall of it, I think, because, you know, I would be tempted to try Musio, but why? Everybody's trying Musio. Everybody has East-West. It's cheap as chips. And I think that's the problem. If everybody has it, then, okay, you can do different stuff with it, but it's just going to sound like everybody else to a certain extent. And I wonder if that's a bit of an issue. Hence why mixing and matching other things, I think, might be a better solution. Okay, I hope that's been of some use. If you're still here, wow, well done to you. I hope it was really helpful. If you've got any one or more of those libraries and you've got some thoughts on it, or you disagree with me or agree with me, then please leave me a comment. I'd be really, really interested. Until the next one, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.